Okay, so this is me recording my viewing of Charles's game exchange, his first 100 turns or so. I'm taking down some notes, some brief notes. We're going to be just going through it at 1.5, and I might be skipping through it because I don't want to spend an hour watching a video that I've watched already. So, just before we start here, we're just going to go through the Indian civilization, just to make sure we all know what it's about and what we can use it for. Okay, so the Indian civilization as a whole, as a civ, gives you get the follower beliefs of the religions that have one follower in your cities. Not just majority religion, of course. That's the whole point of this. They also get one amenity for each religion. And the big part here is +2 spread for missionaries. So that means we're going to be using mostly missionaries if we're playing a faith game. And we want to be sending out a lot of trade routes too, because that will give us just some basic religious pressure. 100 more times pressure. 100% more. So that's some pretty good. The first part of this ability is pretty weak because we don't want there to be religions in our cities. We just want to get rid of them. If we're playing a religious game, of course. Otherwise, we don't really care. Gandhi. So he is interesting. It means that enemies are punished, kind of, for waging war against Gandhi. This is more to do with human players, I would say, because they can cheat, and so they can make it so that their cities are happy, type thing. That's my opinion. I'm not exactly sure of that, but I know the AI cheats. This is interesting, but it means that you have to have met people that founded religions, and not at war with you. Of course, if you're playing the religious route, religious victory game, you're going to be going to war with them because they're going to be pissed off at you for converting their cities, which is what we're going to be seeing in this game. So that's interesting. It's a nice little bonus when it applies. Otherwise, it's not really going to be doing much for us. The Varu, the Egyptian knights, Egyptian elephantine knights, right? Knights, horseman replaces the horseman. Okay, so not knights, but it's heavy cavalry unit. Anyways, they're really good. In my game, they were able to take out cities no problem, and they make enemy units weaker. So, any military should have this. They don't cost horses. They do cost a little bit more. They're slower, but they don't cost horses, so that's pretty good. Stepwell, this is interesting. Not the greatest of unique tile improvements, but it's interesting. It could help us out in the housing situation, which is nice. And it can prevent food loss, so that's also good, which is something that we're going to be seeing in Charles's game. He gets hit with a drought. This would have prevented him from losing all of his food, and it also would have been giving him some much needed housing. So when we play his game, we're going to definitely build some step wells in his cities. And that's it. I'm bringing this up because I want to make note of it. This -1 appeal. So Charles in his game takes the Pantheon for +1 faith for tiles of charming or higher. The downside to that one is that as you improve your terrain with mines and stuff, you're decreasing the appeal. Now, we don't really see this happen in his game because he doesn't have a lot of mines or a lot of tiles that have faith on hills, rather. But this is a potential downside to that Pantheon. But it obviously does wonders for Charles, and that's the main thing. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to decrease the volume a little bit on that, just so that I can hear. Okay, so right off the bat, Charles is going to go ahead and move his unit 2 tiles out right off the bat. So one thing that I would suggest against that is not doing that. Not doing 2 tiles at once. Move 1 tile at a time when you're exploring and or at war, and you'll be able to see and if you've made a mistake or not, and either react to an enemy that's in the fog of war that you didn't see before, or move back if you can see that there's nothing to be gained from exploring. So here he would have been able to see that, hey, there's a natural wonder here by the faith tile, faith yields on these 2 tiles, and he would have been able to make a decision similar to that I made in my game, where I made the decision whether or not I actually want to explore towards there or not. I think Charles would have made that decision anyways, just because of his reaction.
I think this is good. This must be good for Gandhi.
That's all right. It's not that big of a deal. Depends on what kind of game you're going to be playing. You know, if you're playing the faith game and you want to be just generating a buttload of faith, it's pretty good, and we're going to see why. So again, so now he makes a decision that he wants to go settle over there. And here he's exploring. That's good. Now,
So here.
there. I wouldn't have chosen that spot if I was to have been in this position. The reason why is because this tile right here is going to lose that extra production when he settles on it due to it being woods that's giving that production. He's going to lose that. The other reason why I wouldn't have settled here is because he's going to be not having very much housing by going here. He has no access to fresh water, and he also can't build an aqueduct to any fresh water because he's going to be 2 tiles away from any source of fresh water that he can get. So personally, if he wants to settle near this, I would have settled maybe here so that you can build an aqueduct out here or out here and get that fresh water while maintaining production here and getting the faith yields that he could have gotten. And then he would be able to buy out 1 to get to this tile right here, which he wants to get, obviously. The other option, the option that I think is probably the best option, is this tile right here. Now this tile is kind of a dead tile. You know, there's not much that you can do on plains. You wouldn't really be doing anything, and it's about as equal as this one would have been in terms of production, except for this time you're saving that tile, right? You're saving that tile, so that's an extra 2 production that you could have gained by settling here, and then you put the aqueduct right here. And that's pretty good. That would have been one of the better places to settle, I believe. Yeah. So again, not having an aqueduct is going to bite him in the ass later.
Get the faith if I settle there. So, cool.
So he definitely gets the thing. Now here, this is another thing that I would have done differently. He's deciding here, and he makes the decision to buy a worker. Now, I don't know if I would have made that decision, or build a worker, not buy a worker, I should say. I would have probably went for another unit to explore with, because right now it's going to be finished. His worker is going to be finished in 11 turns. His astrology is also going to be finished in 11 turns. So he's not going to be able to do anything with this builder other than build a farm on the wheat. Now, you can then save that worker, and use it for when you discover this. I personally would have built a slinger or a scout even to start exploring that terrain while waiting for your faith district to be done, astrology to be done, so you can start building that. And even then, you build the scout, you can put, what is it, like 4 or 3 turns into a builder, just like I did in my game, before changing production into a faith district. Because,
The builder.
scouting out the available land will give you the better idea of how to prioritize your build order in terms of settler or not. Right, so now he's exploring a little bit. That's good.
Oh,
Although you're coming back to a place where you've already explored already. You should kind of ideally be making a circle around your capital just to get an idea of where you're at. Oh, that's good.
one envoy.
Okay, so now
Did I do it?
another good decision. Saving that envoy is not, spending that envoy is not going to get you anything. You're not going to be spending production on projects anytime soon. So here, I don't know if I would have attacked. I probably would have continued to use my warrior as a scout. You can spend that time going back up to go towards the north, maybe even the west. I mean, you have this mountain range here that kind of prevents you from doing anything other than putting like a settler here or even further out, but that's dangerous since we know there's probably an AI over there. So I would have probably explored towards the north or just cut across right away to the east. But Charles decides to attack.
Okay. Sure. Because I can heal. Ooh, Pantheon.
All right, so this is a pretty early Pantheon. The benefits of settling directly on that natural wonder. For example, he gets his in turn 11 here, which is pretty early, and I get mine turn 42 is when I get my Pantheon going. So it makes quite a big difference being able to settle there early. He's making 6 faith. That's pretty huge, That's pretty huge in terms of what he's going to do. So now he's just making that decision, which one he wants to do. We see him hesitating there, and he makes it evident later that he would only have that one resource to get from in his capital. And it's a good choice that he didn't take that because he would only get 2 faith from it. And also, knowing the map, he wouldn't have got very much else from it. He would have had 1 silver down here, and that would be it, really. But if he had explored more, he would have been in a better position to make that decision based on not only what's in his capital, but also what's outside and how much benefit it would be giving to his other cities that he could know ideas of where to place.
Where's the other good ones? I think that's a good one.
It's not a bad one. You seem to be going right now for a faith victory, so that's not really helpful. You don't have a lot of production in your capital right off the bat, so I wouldn't have gone with that, and I'm glad that he didn't either.
Mines. Luxury and bonus resources. So this could be +4. Is that good? Only get 1 though. It's not that good.
Here we go.
What about something for wheat?
All right, so this is obviously his best choice. I agree with that choice.
Earth Goddess, 1 faith, 1 tiles. The charm.
And he makes that decision. Okay, so now
I might die. Fuck.
by attacking there, he immediately loses his warrior, which is terrible at this point because now he has no units, and you're about to pop a builder. So you can't protect that builder if there was a barbarian raid, and you have no units to be scouting. And if anyone meets you, they're going to see you have no military, and is most likely going to attack you. So see here, because he lost his warrior, he's forced to build another one in order to explore and protect himself. But it means that he just delayed his ability to build Faith District by 7 turns or so. So I don't think this is a good idea right here, what he just did, building that farm. You know, it doesn't really give you anything. The same with this one. The only benefit that you get from that is by getting the Eureka. In my opinion, it would have been much better to just wait because these 2 farms are not really useful to you. Much better to just park them in your capital, wait till you get mining so you can get this. You're researching animal husbandry. You don't know if you're going to be getting horses anywhere around here. If you get horses, you're going to have that worker available and ready to put pasture down so that you can start collecting some horses. So overall, I don't think this was a very good choice for him. Mainly because he's losing a builder, and he's losing it on 2 farms that he's not going to be using for a while. Or ever, you know.
Darren, what the hell happened there? Or maybe I changed my turn order.
Good choice. I'm glad he didn't put God King on there. Nothing to be gained by that.
Find his way back to the stinking place.
Yeah, and so now you might get a raid and you have no military. So that's no bueno.
Turn 22. It's gonna be good. I think I want to cut this down. It's giving me +3.
So the woods is not giving you +3 faith there. It is this. I want to click and drag. It's the natural wonder that's giving you +3 faith, plus your pantheon, which is giving all the faith there. The reason why you don't want to cut it down is because you're going to be losing that 1 faith in your holy site here from 2 forests, your mountains, and your natural wonder. So you'd be losing 1 faith. And also, you just don't want to be losing your production. Well, you wouldn't be losing production, I don't think. Since this is a grass tile, you wouldn't be losing. You would be losing production, since it's a grass tile. So that's really why you don't want to be cutting it down. Okay, no horses. All right, so you know, but you would have been able to spend your worker over here. Again, another thing. Why is your warrior going down here? Really, it should be going up to explore and chase after that barbarian encampment just in case it's coming towards you. So here we see right off the bat the encampment's already gone. There's no reason for him to come down here. Exploring towards the east, I mean, that's a couple of turns of just, nothing really. Going up towards the north would have been a better option. I agree. That's a good choice, mining.
Oh, nice. He cleared it. Good. Bureau.
So 5 turns ago,
So I should go for
in my
6.
game, I started building a settler and I finished my district. So he's about 4 turns behind me in terms of the district, and a while behind building a settler. But he's making some good faith, some good cash. He's able to make up for it. So see, that was a bad choice right there. He took off. You're taking off production, just general overall production, and you're substituting it with plus 30% production towards builders. Now, you don't have a whole lot of production in your capital, and you're definitely not building a worker or a builder. So there's no point for you to be putting ilcum? I don't know, whatever. This social policy in play right now. Better off keeping urban planning in. Putting a GOG is, again, I can't pronounce that word. Putting this social policy in is probably a good one. But again, you're not building military units. So there's kind of no point to be putting it in right now. And you are facing barbarians right now. So you might as well keep discipline. So overall, I don't think your 2 policy choices here, Charles, were very good necessarily. Especially the Ilcum. That one was a bad choice to be doing. Okay, so again, you're fighting an encampment that there's kind of no point to be fighting.
Get away. Ah.
That doesn't matter since you're not using your farm anyways, right? So.
Bitches.
I mean, an argument could be made that you want to take out at least one encampment so that you can get the Eureka and the Arrow score. But I don't know. I feel like exploring right off the bat is a little bit more of importance since you're probably not going to be getting a golden age right now. So you just asked the question of whether or not you should be making a scout or not. Personally, I probably would have made a scout.
Scout.
Or
then settler. Q.
No, what am I saying? I wouldn't have built a scout there. I would have built a slinger, probably.
Oh, we can build settler? I guess that's what I should do, Aham.
It's not a bad choice to be doing that, actually. You know, like you kind of want to have a second city out before turn 50, so it wouldn't be a bad idea. The problem is your housing. So you see this right here? Your 3 out of 4 housing is taking you a hell of a long time to get any sort of growth going. So if you buy that settler, you're going to be dropping your pop down to 2. And so again, just because you have a low amount of housing right now, you're kind of in a tough spot for producing settlers right off the bat. Maybe getting Magnus would be a good choice right here so that you could continue to produce settlers and cities while not losing your capital.
Probably.
But it wouldn't be a bad idea to buy one now and then get a second city going up and maybe a better city.
I'll explore with my...
Or a more productive city, I should say. You have a pretty decent city.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Call me nuts.
I love the AI, eh?
I do the same thing.
Okay. Again, see, I would have continued exploring
Right.
up and around personally, but it's a good thing that you're seeing that you're seeing Nubia right off the bat. Yeah. See, I hope you start. I don't remember if you do or not, but I hope you start exploring up there. So, like I said in the intro, I think this would be a good choice for you because you don't have a lot of housing. You can even replace this farm right here with a step well, and you're going to be getting um, 2 food and 1 housing, which you desperately need.
Guess I could build there.
Again, for the same reason that you don't want to get rid of this
Lose it,
forest,
no.
you kind of don't want to get rid of this forest either.
There's no point building in there. Unless... I get 3 food 1 phase.
In terms of self-defense, archery would probably be a good bet, or bronze working even.
Get out of here.
Archery is better because it's on the tech line towards the Varu.
Out of here. Who's winning this?
You're pretty close.
I am.
And you know what? A good argument. You're going to see Charles realize that he can buy it. A good argument would have been for him to have bought it right off the bat. That way you get first religion. And since you're going for a faith victory, as it seems like, you want to just start spamming missionaries. And you want to get going as soon as you can.
Holy shit.
So I would have probably bought it there.
I'll spend that though. I want to use it to make missionaries.
Exactly.
Heal.
So another thing here, he could have just moved his scout to go take this encampment out, and he would have got some money out of it. Oh, he does it anyways. All right, never mind. It was a good choice then. Good choice. Get that 4 extra bucks.
Owned.
So see, he could have been coming around here and see the expansion of the Chimer. But, yeah, anyways. He doesn't know.
Yes. I just need a little more era score. Yes.
So if I were him, I would have started bringing that warrior back because he's about to get a settler coming out.
A little more.
He's about to get a settler coming out here. And he has no one to defend it. He has barbarians around him. It would be, even if he's only moving here, right, as he will be. He's only moving here, so it's not that far of a distance, but still, you don't want to lose a settler after you just popped it for the first time. You don't want to lose your second city.
Era score.
All right, so here, pretty big decision to be made. I've already made the case for getting Magnus, mainly because of, I think it is provision, the one where you do not lose population for building settlers. Personally, I would have gone with this, considering his capital is such a low population. Another case would have been made for this guy right here, just so that you can start getting some more science and culture, going. This is probably my best choice, then my second, then maybe my third. But I personally don't see any reason to be taking him. I think Charles is getting blindsided by faith. He's starting to get some tunnel vision on faith, because this guy doesn't really do very much. I think Bishop right off the bat just gives you greater pressure from your holy city. Grand Inquisitor, I don't know what that gives you. This gives you greater health regen in your cities. The best one is probably Patron Saint, I believe it is. It's the one where you get 2 promotions for apostles and warrior monks. But again, India is getting a bonus on its missionaries, so you're going to be wanting spending it on its missionaries. He doesn't give you faith directly, so I don't believe he's the best choice for you right off the bat to be taking. Like I said, maybe as a third governor, but certainly not your first. Not a bad choice to be doing, so that you can see where to better send your cities, but a bit too late in that regard for cities to be researching bronze working. So right now, Charles is seems to be looking at for charming. That's what he's looking at. And while that's not a bad thing for him to be looking at, since his pantheon is that, it doesn't seem like he's really looking for a good city location. At least he's not vocalizing it. So it's hard to tell what's on his mind. But it certainly does seem like he's just looking at the appeal of the city, of the tile, so that he can get the most out of his pantheon. That doesn't bite him in his first city, because he settles right here, which is where you probably should have settled anyways, other than settling up here. Given that we know the terrain, this would not have been a bad second city. But this one's also good too. So yeah, it's not a bad choice to be making. So a worker wouldn't be a bad thing to be producing on the very first, build. A monument's also not bad either. You get your culture up and running. But
Might survive.
the war you're exploring in the south there doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because you know that it's tundra. You know that there's a limited amount of space here. No one's going to be surprising you by being here, right? Well, maybe there could be, but it'd be a big surprise that you haven't met them yet. So most likely there's no one here. There's not any interesting land down here, except for maybe a natural wonder or two. But again, you can explore that later at your leisure. It's much better to be exploring towards the north and the east, towards where you expect your enemies to be coming from.
Might survive.
So he bought the settler. Not a bad idea.
Oh.
Not a bad idea. again, that's probably your best one.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh god. Mhm.
So, anyways, I'll wait. This is really not good. The fact that there's a horseman right there, that's no good. You should be worried about that. Okay, so now we're picking a religion. This is pretty important um, for your religion beliefs. I think his best choice is this one right off the bat. Or maybe the feed the world one wouldn't be so bad. But, you know, your cities are going to have enough food and you're already limited by your housing and your capital. I think bringing your culture up with choral music would be the best one. Probably. It would probably be the best one. Or you can be going for your housing by having religious community, but giving your stepwell unique improvement, uh, having one housing from your shrines and temples isn't that big. Choral music is probably your best one.
These all suck.
1% is not really that good. I mean, your capital only has maximum currently a maximum of three followers. Or three citizens to be following here. So you're getting a max 3%. Now that's a really poor choice. I mean, work ethic is not a good trait in general. Just because unless you have huge cities, it's not really going to do very much. So yeah, this is not going to be noticeable in terms of production. So you have a whole bunch here. Pilgrimage is not a bad choice.
I like this one. It's key.
Going for one that gives you faith and something else is probably the better one. I would probably go for Watt or Synagogue in Charles's spot, but Pilgrimage is a decent one too. You know, we're gonna see him massively expand, and that's not a bad choice. You know, although surprisingly, we don't see him build any missionaries right off the bat, so that was a bit disappointing to see. He has 840 faith stockpiled. Might as well just start getting that ball rolling since we're doing a faith victory, clearly.
Mm.
This is not a good city to be settling. Um, half of your starting tiles are water. You have not very good food. You have a decent amount of production, but you're also losing 2 production on your starting tile when you could be using that for more of something else. Um, in this option, he could have gone further to the north to settle. Yes, he's going to be losing loyalty, but he can just transfer his governor over there to prolong that. That wouldn't have been a bad choice. Going further south here is also not a bad choice. I mean, he could go here even. That would be a better a better spot than here, in my opinion. He went here primarily for the appeal, and it just generally doesn't make it a very good city. Yeah, not a decent one. Hard to defend against one because of this water tile here. It really opens it up to these 3 tiles to be attacked without any sort of retaliation because his units have to go around. Defensible from this side, great, but the enemy is right there. Or, not enemy yet, but it will be an enemy later. Yeah. So now you're settling pretty close to another AI. I would have started building one more unit, maybe a slinger or a warrior would have been a good choice.
Mm. Maybe I can kill him before he. Oh no, he's gonna kill me. Let's look at open borders. Oh.
So we just saw Charles buy a couple of missionaries so that he can go and take over his religion. Of course, when you convert someone's holy city, they're not happy about it. So by doing that, he's gonna be angering the Khmer, and he really doesn't have the military to back that up. He's building a 21 turn settler here, and I'm not sure if he realizes it. Oh no, he doesn't realize it. And that's because of his build queue. That he's building that settler, and it's taking way too long. He could be building anything else would have been better. A worker, another district even would have been better. Military is definitely better since he's about to piss off someone. But anyways, now you have 2 units scouting the same territory over there in the southwest. That's not very good. Just from a exploration standpoint, you only have so many units. Here, doubling down on a bad decision is not a good thing. You know, you're going for patron saint. Wait, hold on. What was the third one? Okay, that's actually not that bad, Citadel of God. Gain faith equal to 25% of the building cost when finishing buildings. That's not bad. Most likely he's not going to be, it's going to be chump change compared to his overall faith production. And then eventually he can get down to patron saint. But this is 3 promotions in for something that you won't be using all too much. You know, the first 2 apostles that you get are going to be spent to improve your religion. Citadel of God is passive, but you want to have good production for that. And if your capital is constantly, or the city that he's in constantly has no production, then Citadel of God is not going to be worth very much. So again, I would have bought another governor, but so we see here the position of his military. There's a lot more units than what Charles has right now, so that's not very good. The few military that Charles has is far away and or weakened. And so we see them slowly approaching.
Ooh, got injured.
They're coming closer. Charles, I guess, doesn't see it or doesn't care or doesn't know what it means, I guess. But now he's definitely gonna be mad.
Ha ha ha.
Surprised he didn't ask you to promise not to convert his cities, but he tried to control the other guy's missionaries. We see here they're coming closer now. They're coming closer. No bueno. Really, this worker here should have been a warrior or an archer.
That's nice. It's
Yeah,
good for me.
it is. But now he's upgraded his archer, which is also his slinger into an archer, which is not good. And he's right there. So again, this is also another point where we should be looking at Nubia's military. They're kind of just been hanging around here for a while. Especially that warrior. Been hanging around for a while, not really doing
I'm
anything.
worried about his military strength.
You should be. Yep. Another thing that Charles can do here
I should have.
is
I did.
another thing that he can do is befriend Nubia, hopefully to gain their friendship so that they can't backstab him. I think he did the good choice by attacking the warrior right there. Probably a good choice. Well, it is the good choice.
Uh-oh. Oh shit. That's kind of fast.
Yeah. So here, I probably would have attacked the. Oh, you. No, I would have attacked the warrior. Would have attacked the warrior. Not that it makes a difference, anyways.
Mm. Bastards. Took my city.
Well, on the plus side, he's probably not going to be able to keep that city. I would have went for that campus up there, just so that you can get some good science. Getting the faith isn't all that important. That's only about one turn of your overall faith production. He's definitely going to be dropping a governor in there to prevent that from being lost. Yeah. This is a good move on Charles's part. Make sure the AI can start distracting the person he's at war with, because Charles doesn't really have very much of a military right now. Again, he's still producing that settler that's doing nothing, or gonna do nothing at least.
Damn, there's not that many spots, eh? Shit. Oh, 10 more turns to go.
So
Oh,
we
10 more
see
turns to go.
here, that he just put that settler to sleep right away. I mean, that doesn't make sense not to be using it. I mean, he can put it in a shit location, but it's better using it than not. I think he's making a good call here, just gaining XP off of Chennai and bringing his military slowly together.
What row?
Yeah. So this is huge disaster. It doesn't. I'm not sure if Charles realizes the importance of this, but he just lost all the food in his capital. That's devastating. He's not going to be growing. He's going to be losing population actually, and then he's just going to stop. So that's really not that good. This could have been prevented if he had built a step well. He would have kept at least some food going in his capital. I don't see the point in putting one guy in there. It's not going to do anything. He doesn't have the industrial districts to make use of the third point. A builder would be a good point now, so that you can start improving that second city, Calcutta, improving all the cattle and the deer, or even the mine. Building the mine would be a good one. And it's not building a water mill. I don't think that it's a good choice. You might as well befriend her too. Like, I would have befriended both of them, both the allied AI, because it's just, you're extremely weak right now. You're fighting off another war. Might as well make friends with them and be done with that.
No. Not my dude.
Now you should be worried about Nubia. You see how that warrior right here has moved? Has moved over, and this, I think it's called a Patui archer or something. That archer is coming down. We saw earlier that there was a war cart around here. I didn't say anything, but it was there. We should be worried about them. It looks like they're about to attack, or getting ready to. We just lost that friendship icon with Amatori. I would be worried. He made the choice to go to theology a while ago. I didn't agree with that choice at the beginning. And I still don't really. I mean, you're rushing a religion, sure, but you're not going to be able to get a better government. Now this is a really bad situation. We just saw here, look at what we see. We see 2 archers, a warrior, 2 war carts. That's way more than what Charles can handle right now. And he's about to, in like 2 turns, I think, pay off Nubia to attack the Chimer. And it's a good thing that he does, because otherwise he was about to lose the game. This is very dangerous.
Ruh-roh.
I think he just noticed, and it's a good thing that he noticed.
I should have done this one first.
And yeah, he's right. He should have attacked with the archer first, but it's not that big of a deal.
Meh, no.
I don't know why he's saying why he wouldn't be taking this. I would have taken that. I mean, you get your city back, you declare peace. You don't have the ability to continue fighting this guy. And the Chimers, Nubia is going to be taking out the cities. So I would have declared peace, stay out of it, and focus on getting your infrastructure up and running because you don't really have any.
102. All right, 103. All right, I'm saving here. That's the first video.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, there's only 500 in the game, so.
Yeah. So let's go back here. Let's see where we are at turn 50 for Charles and compare it to my save. I took a photo at turn 50. Turn 50. This is pretty much the state of the world according to Charles here. Going between these two areas, capital is being developed, building a settler, and exploring. He's doing pretty good. We see here that these are kind of low odds. He's got a lot of faith, some pretty good cash coming in, but other than that, pretty low. Let's see what we have. So, in my game at turn 50, I just declared war against the Chimer. I settled my second city like a turn or two before. This is a mistake that I noticed afterwards. Turns out that I had been hamstringing my capital a little bit in terms of production, but in terms of food, that's not a bad thing either. So you'll see here that we have a decent amount of. We got a little bit more science, not that much, not a noticeable amount, but we're doing quite a bit more in terms of culture. Incredibly poor in terms of faith. And the fact that it's at 9, the balance of 9, that means 9 turns ago I got a pantheon. Which makes sense. According to my stats here, I got my pantheon on 42. So, I must have got a little bit more faith somehow. So yeah, so I have 2 cities. He's got a little bit of a slower start, but he picks it up towards the end of the game. Again, because you're not really focusing on expansion and infrastructure. You're mostly focusing on faith and getting that done right. Okay, so now let's bring it back to the end. Let's go. Oop. And this is the state of the world at the end of the game. Well, let's compare this to mine. So this is my game at the end, turn 103. Everyone's pissed off at me that I know, but I've taken out the Chimer. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cities. Plans in this game would be to go south here. That didn't help at all. To go towards the south to pick up the iron that we saw in Charles's game, and settle another city on that natural wonder, so that we can start increasing our faith to get it going. And now that we have the infrastructure, the cities, we can start building faith districts and start really pumping up that faith and getting it going. We're worried about a future war with Greece and Nubia, but Nubia is not much of a concern for us right now. It's mostly Greece because they have the hoplites, and clearly they have swordsmen as well. In terms of yields, well, I'm about 4 times more in terms of science, a little under 3 times more in culture. I would say probably, 3 times? It's 3 times slower in faith, and we're about even in gold. So, I would say I'm definitely in a better position for my game. However, the fact that Charles has progressed substantially towards Faith Victory by essentially converting 3 of the known civs, or all of the known civs, it's a pretty good start. I'm not sure if this is a small game or not, or if it's a standard. If it's standard, then we're substantially further behind. Charles is, at least, because then the odds are pretty good that someone else has faith and is ramping it up. But yeah, if it's a small game, he's off to a good start as long as he can keep his military going and infrastructure good. Is really what it is. We're not looking at an expansive type of game right now. The fact that the Chimer all have walls and he has none and very few military units means he's going nowhere in terms of military expansion. So he needs to stay small, build up that infrastructure, and continue converting the world. Versus my game, we're about to get a holy heroic age, so we're gonna do some good in my game. But yeah, that's where we are at. And that's the end of the video. Ciao.